Hello everyone, welcome back to the .NET world. Today we will going to see one important interview question, which is difference between static versus singleton class in C#. As we know, static is a keyword and singleton is a design pattern. And we use a singleton design pattern to create only one instance, or if I say only one object class and use globally in our application. Then here the question arises, why we require a singleton design pattern? Because same we can achieve by using the static keyword, or if I say by using the static object, because it will also same create only one object and we can use globally in our application. So first we will going to see some key difference between static versus singleton class. Then I will going to jump to some of the example where some use cases require a singleton design pattern to be used compared to the static keyword, and we cannot achieve that thing by using the static keyword. So the first difference is when we use a singleton class, we can achieve the inheritance. Means we can implement the interfaces, we can inherit from other classes. Whereas when we use a static class, the inheritance cannot be achieved because the instance member cannot be inherited by the other class. Second difference is that when you create the object of the singleton class, you can control over the object creation also. Whereas in static object, we cannot control object creation. Third difference is that when you create the object of the singleton class, you can also destroy the object. Whereas in case of the static class, you cannot destroy the object. The fourth difference is that the static object are stored in stack memory versus singleton class object are stored in heap memory. The fifth difference is that static object cannot be passed as a parameter to other method. Or if we say we cannot pass the static object as a parameter to other method. Whereas the singleton class object can be passed as a parameter to other method. In case of the static class, whenever the compiler runs the static class, it automatically converts that static class as an abstract and a seed. So that is why you cannot create the object of a static class and also you cannot inherit the static class. In case of a singleton class, we create a private constructor. Why? Because the object will be created inside the singleton class. It will not be created outside the singleton class. Also, as we are creating only the one object or one instance, so if any other class uses the method of a singleton class, it will automatically create only the one instance and it will not be going to create the other instances. So that is why we call as a singleton class. The example of a static class, or if I say the static method, we can use for the extension method. We can declare the extension method as a static and we can extend the properties of already created instance or the property of other class. The other example are string formatting. If you want to convert from data table to list, then we can use the static keyword. And singleton class can be used for logging, caching, global handling global exception. So in that case, we can go for the singleton class. So apart from these differences, there are four other important points which I need to discuss, and it will going to give you the idea why we not go for the static keyword and use a singleton design pattern. So the 4 points are write safety, encapsulation, third is iterator, and fourth is lazy loading. So these are the 4 points which we cannot achieve by using the static keyword. Or if I say it's a drawback of the static keyword, if we go and use a static keyword or if we create the object of a static keyword, these are the important points. तो ये भी मैंने कई एग्जांपल देखा था जब मैं अपने इंटरव्यू के लिए पढ़ रहा था, और ये जो 4 पॉइंट है, ये पॉइंट मुझे एक्चुअल डिफरेंस बताया स्टैटिक कीवर्ड हम क्यों नहीं यूज करते एंड व्हाई वी यूज सिंगलटन डिजाइन पैटर्न. तो लेट्स सी द एग्जांपल. तो यहाँ पे मैंने एक एम्प्लॉयज क्लास बनाया है और एक कंस्ट्रक्टर क्रिएट किया है फॉर एम्प्लॉयज क्लास, एंड देयर आर द अदर क्लास व्हिच इज एम्प्लॉय, एंड आई हैव क्रिएटेड टू प्रॉपर्टी एम्प्लॉय आईडी एंड एम्प्लॉय नेम. तो अब मैं यहाँ पे एक ऑब्जेक्ट बनाता हूँ, स्टैटिक ऑब्जेक्ट. और इस कंस्ट्रक्टर में इसको मैं इनिशियलाइज करता हूँ. तो बेसिकली मैंने क्या किया, एक स्टैटिक ऑब्जेक्ट क्रिएट किया है एंड इस कंस्ट्रक्टर में जो भी डेटाबेस से एम्प्लॉय के डेटा आएगा, मींस एम्प्लॉय आईडी एंड एम्प्लॉय नेम, वो इस एम्प्लॉय में स्टोर होएगा, इस एम्प्लॉय ऑब्जेक्ट में। ओके, एंड हैज दिस ऑब्जेक्ट इज अ स्टैटिक, वी कैन यूज ग्लोबली इन आवर एप्लीकेशन। तो मैं वो एम्प्लॉय डेटा कहीं भी मेरे एप्लीकेशन में यूज कर सकता हूँ। So as you can see over here, I have created this static object. Okay, so for this class employee, it will only going to create only one object, or if I say it will going to create only one instance, and this instance will going to be used in our whole application. So this is the global object. But यहाँ पे एक issue है, this is not encapsulated. Why? Because for example, ये employee data को, ये employee data जहाँ से DB से आ रहा है, कोई other developer, if any other developer changes this employee object to null, okay, or if I say we will going to add some new employee, so in that case your data will be lost. Okay, why? Because as this employee object is using globally, so anyone can do changes, and if these changes happen, your data will be lost. So this is the first point, encapsulation. So by singleton class, how we can achieve the encapsulation? So I will going to create one class of singleton, which will be a static. Sorry, and I will create private. तो अगर आप यहाँ देखोगे, सिंगलटन, this singleton class will encapsulate your this list object. Okay, so it encapsulating means it is not allowing any developer or anyone to change this global object. So this is a encapsulated, right over here is a encapsulated comment. So static object will going to create this object. Okay, static object they created this object as a static. It will going to ensure, or if we say it will going to create only one instance for class employee, but any developer can change this object. Okay, or by mistake they can change this object value. So single class will ensure you this object, your list employee object is a encapsulated, and no one can directly change this object as it is a global instance. So it will not going to be changed or used by any other developer. The second point is lazy loading. So whenever your application run or build, it will automatically load your static class or the static object. Okay, so in that case, we cannot achieve the lazy loading. So by using the singleton class, you can achieve the lazy loading, or if I say on-demand loading. So whenever the object will require to load that particular class object, then only it will go to load the object, and you can use the method. Okay, so how we are going to achieve the lazy loading over here? I will going to create a method. I will going to check first that the object is null or not. If it is a null, then it will going to create a new object, and then you can return this. Okay, so over here, as you can see, this part is lazy loaded. Okay, so this thing what it says, that if your list, or if I say the object of the employee class list, okay, if it is a null, then it will want to create a new object. Otherwise, that only one object created, or if I say the instance created, will be used by other classes. Okay? It is a global object. Okay, so this is the second point. So the first point is encapsulation, and second is a lazy loading. Now the third point is that your object should not be destroyed. Okay, when it iterates. So for example, like if this is singleton class, okay, and I will going to comment this part, this thing, okay, and I want to get the list of the employee. I will go to use class name dot get list. Okay, so over here, the developer can use add method. It can add the new employee, but I only want to get the employees. So this is destroying your object. Or if I say, if you getting this value and storing in some employee list variable. So over here, this employee list variable, or if I say this employee list dot add, as you can see over here, so this object has been destroyed. Why? Because it is adding a new employee. So any developer can use this and add the new employee. So it should be not like that. It should only iterate that particular list of employee and get all the data. So in this case, we can use I enumerable. So if I use I enumerable, so now you can see it is showing error over here because you cannot add any new employee or any new data. You can only get the list of the employee and use that employee list for your other purpose. Now, if you see over here, these all things you can apply the iteration. Okay, these all are the iterator method. You can count, you can check what all are any data is there or not in that particular list. So this is how you can use the iterator, okay, in a singleton class, so that it will not going to destroy your object or the use of the object. So I will going to write over here. This is the third point. So the last important point is thread safety. By using the static keyword, you cannot achieve the thread safety, and we can achieve it by using the singleton design pattern. So what is the thread safety? So for example, if some user is loading the employees, or if I say refreshing the employee details, so at the same time the other should not access the employee list. So in that case, we can use a log. Okay, we can log that particular employee list until it load and it refresh the page and gives the data. So the other user at the same time cannot access the data. So how we will going to achieve this? So I will going to write one method list and employee. Let's say load, right? Over here we're going to put lock this list, the new employee list is going to be, and we can return this list. So yeah, as you can see over here, I have written this method load employee. So it will going to load the employee, or if I say it will going to refresh the new employee list. So at that time, I will going to use a log. Okay, so it will going to log for some particular time period unless and until it loads the new employee and show to the user. At the same time, the other user cannot access this data, this list object data. So this is a thread safety. This is was our last point. So we have discussed these 4 points, which are encapsulation, iterator, lazy loaded, and thread safety. So by using the singleton design pattern, we can achieve these all things. This point will help you a lot in your interview question. And if you have any doubt apart from this, please write down in the comment section. Thank you so much.